Welcome to the OVGC Podcast. Whatever episode we're on, I'm not counting. But it is the end of the year for December, and that marks our Game of the Year time, which I forgot to go and check out what game won for our Game of the Year. But not just the Game of the Year, but we have a lot to talk about. We have upcoming, we got our first quarterly game for January, February, March. And then January, February, March, April. How many games are in the first? How many months are in the first quarter? 3, right?
Yeah.
And then we have the January game of the month itself, which this theme this year is firsts for the first year of the month. And everybody picked a lot of really good ones this time, and I'm excited to talk about a bunch of them. But first, let's find out who our Game of the Year winner or winners are, because I think we had a lot of good votes come in from everybody. Kind of scrolling up on this. So we can see that there's a tie between Metroid Zero Mission and Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. So the first time we have this poll, and we get a tie, so that's pretty, whatever. I guess that's par for the course.
That
for
works.
us. Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yep.
You guys. I think those are probably, out of everything that we've done, I think those are probably our two best options, honestly. I would have thought Sonic Adventure 2 Battle would have beaten out everybody else, but that one seemed to have been like our most popular one for sure this season, which has been awesome.
Zero Mission's good though.
It is so good. It is so good. When I was re-listening through the soundtrack for it, for the gaming, for my last music quiz, I just stopped and listened to the whole thing for the most part. I was just like, man, it's so solid. And gameplay wise, it's just so good. It just takes Super Metroid and just skins over the old game with it, so.
Yeah, and I like how they kind of streamlined some of the controls even. With the quick switch on the missiles. I love that on the more modern Metroid games.
Yeah, that was good.
Instead of having to cycle through all the options on Super Metroid. So.
Yeah, but so I don't know what to do with that data besides just say, there you go. Maybe I'll see if I can figure out how to put like a little like icon or something on the channels.
Maybe make like a game of the year, like Hall of Fame.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. Like our winners. Like, here's our Game of the Year winners.
You have like a 2-way tie, so the first year gets bing bing 2 of them. And then each year we'll just add to them.
That's a good idea. We should definitely do that. It's fun just to know. Even game I suggested as top tier this year. Yes, heck yeah, absolutely. Seasons.
I need to check in the chat here.
I'm trying to keep up with the chat. I will do my best. I'll keep the conversation going. I'll check the chat as I go.
There you go.
So
move this window around again.
So our game of the month this year, this time was Wario Land 3, and this was my first time playing through any of the Wario Land games. I did play through the original Wario Land on the Game Boy, Super Mario Land 3.
Yeah, that's the original
when I was
one.
A kid, I never really got very far in it though, just because Wario is so weird and strange, and this game kind of helped me understand the gameplay of the Wario Land games a little more, and I think that I think I could handle the other ones after this.
Yeah.
I really, really had a lot of fun with this one. But this was your game of the month, so you tell me your side of the story. I want to hear more from you about this one.
Okay, so I'm actually not all the way through with it. I know we're doing the podcast, and I should have beaten it before then. Shame on me.
You still have 2 weeks or a week.
I still have some time, and I did grind out quite a bit today. Made some good progress. I actually made a couple notes here, kind of some pros and cons that I was kind of jotting down while I was playing. Let me see if I can bring this up here. Okay, so yeah, generally, playing through it, I was super impressed with it. This is the first time I've actually sat down and played through it. I've started the first couple levels, but honestly, the first couple levels doesn't even begin to show you what the game's about. You have to get probably about where I'm at now to start to see, oh, okay, like I see what they're doing here. Um, so, but some quick pros on my list. Sprite works super good. I think it's some of the best graphics on the GBC. I think it's up there with Shantae as far as like the animation. When you got Wario like climbing up the ladders and his booty shaking and stuff, like
Yeah.
it's good. It's good sprite work. Good color variety. I mean, like each of the levels has, here's a nice green level, here's a blue level. So there was a lot of variety there, and it was nice bright colors, especially for the Game Boy. I felt the controls were pretty tight. Sometimes on the handheld, the controls would feel a little bit floaty. I think of like the Donkey Kong Country port. Like the controls on that sucked for the Game Boy. Sometimes the controls would be floaty on like some of the Game Boy Castlevania games I'm thinking of.
Okay.
For this one, I felt like the controls were like super duper tight. So I was really digging that. I liked how some of the games I felt like kind of presented you with like a platforming challenge. That like the whole level was basically complete this platforming challenge. If you mess up, you take damage, and there's some goofy way to send you all the way back to the beginning.
Yep.
Pisses you off, and you have to start over. So I was super happy that I had the analog pocket with the save states. I didn't need it a ton, except for when you get to the boss battle, or right before like that part of the level where if you make one single mistake, it sends you back to the beginning of the stage.
Yeah.
That's taking damage in this game. That's the penalty in this game. There's no life counter, which I love.
Yeah.
But it's low risk. Yeah, it's super low risk. You can take your time and like learn each challenge. I think I was relying a bit on the save states, just kind of power through and try to get done for today. I also was kind of picking up on. Did you notice that there's the save option on the pause screen that will instantly save the game and take you back to the title screen?
I never messed with it, no, because I used rewind a lot on the Switch one.
Okay, so contextually, with the game coming out on the Game Boy Color, you're turning this on, you're playing a few levels, and then you gotta go. Oh no, the pause feature, you can click save. It saves you exactly where you're at in the level. It saves the level state.
Wow. Okay.
Sends you back to the title screen. Turn off the Game Boy. Next time you boot it up, you hit continue. You're right inside the level where you were at. So contextually, I'm like thinking, I'm like, wow, I would have loved to play this as a kid. Why did I not play this as a kid?
Yeah.
And then the other thing I noticed is it seems like at each small little level, you play through and you open up a chest. It's not just I'm getting the flagpole at the end of every single level. Beep, beep, beep.
Right.
It's I'm opening up a chest. I'm getting an item. It's either a power up or it's something that physically changes the way the map looks.
Yeah.
So you're getting this sense of progression even when you're popping out your Game Boy, you're playing your 5-10 minute level, you're figuring out your little puzzle, where am I going? There's a sense of satisfaction there, but then you feel like you're making progress even in these tiny little steps. So that's why I'm kind of like I'm halfway through with it, kind of grinded it out today, but I'm like I want to finish it because it's addicting gameplay loop, honestly.
I agree. I got really addicted to it. I was at work and I just kept thinking about it. I really, really love the feeling that when I open a chest that something is going to happen every time. Not in every case, but like, I might have to get three chests to finish an item that does something else, right? You really hit on all the major points of it, though. Like I think this game really shines on the DS or Game Boy Advance or Game Boy Color. My gosh, I got to keep backing up.
Color. That's
Game
the thing.
Boy Color.
it punches way above the color's weight, I feel.
I never experienced any lag while I was playing it either, too. And I've experienced lag on the Donkey Kong games where it'll be whatever. This game really was well made. I did buy a copy of the Game Boy Color one, and I played it for a little bit through a couple stages, and it just plays the same as it did on the Switch. And I really had to abuse the rewind function a lot in the Switch because, as you say, the punishment to the game was restarting the platforming segments. And while I did, when it comes to rewinding and save stating stuff, I always have this general rule in my head where I play through it as intended for a while until I'm like, okay, this is too much, and then I go through it, and then I go through it where I feel a little cheaty in some ways. Let's see what the chat here says. So Almonds says, I'm pretty sure I had this one as a kid, but never got far into it. But extremely unique game. Yeah, it's unique for the Game Boy Color. I did complain about the soundtrack, I believe, to you last week. I was talking about it. I might have been talking to Seasons on the phone.
You were talking to me a little bit.
Oh, okay. I was talking to you about it.
Complaining, I think it's the weakest point of the game.
Right. Yeah, I do too. I kept on listening to it, and I was just like, man, there's just nothing in this. I listened to the full OST a couple times, and I was just like, nothing really stands out to me except for essentially the superstar style songs, like the zombie music and stuff.
Yeah, I would say it's some of the overworld tunes are pretty kind of upbeat and kind of snazzy, but there's nothing that really stuck in my mind.
Yeah.
A lot of the tunes kind of were going for the atmospheric things, especially because it had the day-night system. A lot of the night tunes were simple little one-note things.
Right.
Not so. It was more atmospheric than melodic, and therefore not as memorable for me.
Okay.
But it fit it. But I never felt like the music or the sound effects didn't fit the situations, though.
Yeah, that I do think they matched the tone of the zone. I just don't think anything was memorable.
Yep. I had one more thing I wanted to kind of point out, and I forgot. So what year did this guy come out? Wario Land 3. 2000. So okay. So this is way after Mario 64. But I thought it was interesting. What kind of struck to me was how I felt the backtracking, where you go back to the same levels, but the level layout changes and the level path and the way that the level is approached changes. It kind of reminded me of how Mario 64 handles that. You go to Bob-omb Battlefield, one mission might take you to this side of the map, one mission might take you to a different part of the map. So I felt like even though there was backtracking and that's sometimes used as a negative against a game, I felt like the backtracking in this one was a positive because it gave variety to the levels. Obviously, they had limited space on the Game Boy Color. You can use the same level but get 5 or 6 in this case 4 for the treasure chests. But you can get 4 different uses out of the level. 4 unique uses out of the levels. I thought that was a kind of Mario 64-ish thing.
Mm-hmm. No, they really did a good job reusing stages and stuff. Like every time I went in, I kept thinking how am I supposed to get this 4th treasure chest? And it was because the level would change or change in some way later on.
Yep. And I felt like they did a good job of putting the changed element in a pretty obvious spot, at least where I'm at. Maybe in the later levels it gets more difficult, but it seemed like it's oh, go to this level with the snake pot. And the snake would be in the first 2 screens. You're okay, I know where I'm going now.
Right.
That's basically all I think I had to say on it. But yeah, super good game. I'm definitely going to finish it before the end of the month, and I'll probably return to it because it's a good one.
I want 100% all the treasures still. I haven't done that yet. I I took a break to try and blast through Fire Emblem. I want to read Lance's comment here. He says, really awesome game, super fun mechanics and controls, surprisingly good for the Game Boy Color. Outtakes the Oracle games on that front for me. The animation work was really satisfying, I agree, especially after you get treasures. Planning on 100%ing before the end of the month. Yeah, and we still have a week to go. So I really want to 100% it. I'd like to see anybody who does 100% it post in the channel for Wario. Just
For sure.
Show us that you did it. I really want to see who's done it, and I want to hear what you think about actually 100%ing it, because if it's not worth it and you don't feel like it's worth it, like I want to hear what people say if they think it's worth it or not. So
can we get people like special like a Wario hat flair if they 100% this?
That'd be cool. I'll see if I can. I've been working with the MEE6 bot a little bit to try and figure out some things, and
cool.
It's been a learning experience. But since I did mention Fire Emblem, we're gonna move on and talk a little bit about Fire Emblem here.
You're gonna have to take the lead on this one, because I'll be honest and say I did not put much time into this.
Okay, so Seisen no Keifu, or Genealogy of the Holy War, Fire Emblem 4. Not released in English. This is a Japanese Super Famicom game only. I was debating about buying the Super Famicom game because I have a Super Famicom collection, and I might.
How much is it?
It's only like $25 for a full box copy. So
might have to get it just to put it on your shelf.
I might have to, just because just because everything's like, I played through it now. I didn't beat it yet. I'm at the end.
Okay.
I'm on chapter 10. And I got to chapter 9 by screwing up a lot. So, I was just like, finish it. Let's see how it ends, because I could not beat a specific character in it. A dragon, a Draco Knight unit. Lance is going to start messaging the chat like crazy, I'm sure, in a second. But thank you, Lance, for this one. Since this was your game of the year, I really liked this. It was really fun playing Fire Emblem the way it used to be, the way it was introduced to me when I first played it on the Game Boy Advance when it was first released in America. When I got introduced to it through Super Smash Bros. Melee with the characters Marth and Roy, and then being able to actually like go back and play like a true to form Fire Emblem compared to the more user-friendly ones was a lot more fun on this. So is this your first time playing a classic Fire Emblem, Jeff, at all?
100%.
Okay. Have you played any of the modern ones?
Yes, but I never played through one.
Okay.
I have my attention span's not quite long enough to make it through one. Yeah. I went pretty far in, I think, what was it, Awakening?
Mm-hmm.
Was that on the 3DS?
Yeah.
I enjoyed that one, and then what was it, Three Houses? Was that on the Switch?
Yep, the Switch one. That was probably the most popular Fire Emblem game to ever come out.
Yeah, I put a number of hours into that one. I think Awakening was one I put the most into, and I liked it. But then, kind of other games come out, and if you don't keep on top of that, you lose it. So
I feel like,
or abandoned save file.
Yeah. I feel like Fire Emblem has diehard fans, and then it's got casual fans. And while I love Fire Emblem, I would call myself a casual Fire Emblem fan. And I'll play through these games straight to the end. And there are people who will probably pick these up and like barely get through them. They'll probably play a little bit, and then they'll get through it, and they'll be like, "Gosh, this is hard. I don't understand why I'm playing this." I am gonna spoil some stuff in it. So the game is based on a 2-part segment, which is not something you really see in some Fire Emblem games. Three Houses did this, where it has a one segment and then like a time skip.
Okay.
The build up where you play as what's his name? The main character. Oh my gosh, I'm so bad with Fire Emblem character names. Please don't scream at me, everybody. Sigurd, thank you. Whereas you play as Sigurd and his group all the way up until the end of chapter 6, where they all die.
The Sigurd.
It's amazing. And I didn't expect it. I was like, oh my god, this is incredible. Like, I thought it was gonna be like a time skip or something of like prosperity, and then like bad guys were coming back again or something like that, and they had to like take out some enemy nation. No, the enemy nation takes over. They kill all the good guys. You lose everybody cool. You lose all this hard work that you did, and I'm just like, all these characters that I put all this time into, and the relationships and all this stuff that I built up, they just doesn't matter after 6 chapters. Chapter wise, this is the shortest Fire Emblem. Length wise, all these chapters are insanely long. They're probably like, each chapter is probably like about 3 to 4 chapters long for a typical Fire Emblem game.
Okay. Quick question.
Yes.
Time skip wise, so you say it's like hard reset of all the characters?
Yeah, basically a little bit.
Does
it's
anything you do matter at all?
So the relationships matter. They pass on weapons, and you can have different characters show up in the game. Depending on who pairs up, depends on what characters show up later on.
Okay.
But based on who was holding what weapons in the game, depends on what they get later on, and it gives you a massive advantage. And if you don't have those weapons, you characters don't pair up, you are so boned later on. Now the game does like auto give you stuff, like it doesn't like just leave you hanging for the second half, but like you could literally go into the second half at a massive disadvantage by not actually focusing on the relationship system.
How good is the game, if at all, at kind of telling you if you should be aiming to get these weapons and these pairings?
It doesn't at all.
Okay, so it's like good luck.
Good luck.
If you don't
Play
do this
through it again.
own.
If you aren't used to Fire Emblem at this point, like if you aren't used to the game's relationship systems at this point, you wouldn't have been doing it, because they have come out with the relationship system, I think, since the second game. It's just, I think in this one is the first one where characters get married and have kids, and those kids are the offspring in that you play as in the second half.
Interesting. Definitely did not get that far.
No. Honestly, I would recommend it if you don't want to finish it even. The story is really cool so far. I feel like there's a lot going on still that I don't know, so I don't feel like I can explain it. But there's an evil at work, and it's all kind of like started off. If you start reading to or listening to the opening segments, you can kind of pick up like the legacy and the legend of the 12 heroes and stuff like that. That you gotta kind of understand what's going on a little bit. You get like kind of a hint at what you're supposed to do, or how you're supposed to interpret it. I have let characters die in this because there are times where I can't save state my way out of a paper bag in this one, because it's holy crap. Like this one's pretty ruthless. There's a lot of quality of life things that are coming down the pipeline in Fire Emblem that I think is way gonna fix a lot of this. Fixes a lot of this stuff. That I feel like if they re-released this one later on, which they might, Nintendo might release it later on. This would probably be like, this could potentially be like one of the most popular Fire Emblem games to come out again.
To your point on the chapter sizes, in chat, Lance Stryker was talking about how average size of a map in Fire Emblem is 24 by 24. Fire Emblem 4 maps are 64 by 64, so massively bigger.
Yeah, that's crazy. I wonder why they went so big. That'd be an interesting thing to find out. I must mention I did in the channel, very much so, a game that expected you to read the manual. A lot of JRPGs. Yeah, that's true. That is true. That's true for the original Zelda game. If you didn't read the information about the Pole's voice, so
right. Read the manual.
Read the manual. Yes. I do think that the first half of the game, though, is very easy. compared to what comes after Chapter 6. Chapter 7 is just like, hey, you've played through it, now get rocked. And if you're not protecting your castles, you're gonna get screwed. If you're not like just all sorts of stuff. And this chapter that we're watching right now, Chapter 2, is the first time they mention like defending your castle, and it's the first time your castle gets like purposely like attacked. And if you don't have a guy at it, you instantaneously lose.
Oh, okay. So you have to leave someone at the castle.
You have to, yes.
Okay.
So it's basically like, you should have multiple saves too, if you were playing on a natural cart, because if you lose on a turn, you only go back to the last turn where you saved it. So if you've been saving regularly between every turn, then you're gonna end up having to replay that state where you die every time. So you can't actually win. So, but thankfully they give you return staffs, which sends you back to your castle, which I don't know if that's in other Fire Emblem games, but teleport is.
Okay.
And I just got to the point where I could buy the warp staff. So,
we talking about Fire Emblem?
We are talking about Fire Emblem. Welcome, Matt. You're in.
Hello, I made it.
You made it, finally.
He does exist.
I hope Sonic was worth it.
I'm sorry. Oh, it really was. It was pretty great.
Awesome.
Oh, you saw the movie?
Yeah.
Well, I just wrapping up Fire Emblem, the talk about Fire Emblem here. We just finished talking about Wario Land 3, so you missed that. But we're about to get talking about what games we're going to be talking about here for the month, the game of the month choices.
Heck yes.
Kaga stated the reason he made the map so big was to sell the scale of the story, as the politics played a much bigger part of the plot than the prior games. Interesting. So I must ask, did you pass down for setting to the second generation? Oh, did I? Oh no. You talking? Was that an ad to me? Yes, it is to me. I can't read it on this thing. Setting to the second generation. Setting? Oh, Forsetti. Oh, I don't think I got Forsetti. Passed down to my second generation, unfortunately. But we're going to move on from Fire Emblem right now, and I'll come back to the chat at the end. Sorry about that. Let's see here. Enough about that. So let's first talk about our games of the month. So we have a few to go through.
Pikmin twice.
Yes. So we did come up with the last time we talked about it, when people do when people second something, it gets a second chance at being picked last time, which I thought was a really fun option.
Mario Kart 8
second chance
style.
of being picked. Man,
twice. So our theme for January's game of the month was firsts, which I thought was a cool idea. And I appreciate that nobody else stood against it, because it's my choice anyway, and you guys can't tell me no.
It's too late to object.
It's too late to object. Everybody's got their opinions already, their choices already up. So, seasons, you can't just Pikmin gang. So Pikmin is one of our options. Probably one of the coolest games I've ever played. Pikmin, really well done, super fun. If you've never played it, I don't know I don't know anybody in this group who wouldn't have played Pikmin, or at least tried a Pikmin game at this point.
I tried. I'm actually playing 4 right now.
I've never played the OG one though.
You haven't played the OG one?
Oh wait. Did you and me play through the OG?
No.
I checked it out from Blockbuster back in the day.
Did you never play through it either, Matt?
I never played through it. Like, when did this game come out?
2004, 2000, whatever. I don't know.
2001 maybe?
Yeah,
I would have been like in middle school, so it wasn't something I was super interested in.
Oh my gosh. It was one of the first games I got for the GameCube, and I played the hell out of it. So I've played
and beaten 3 and 4. So
okay. Man, there's nothing. Not even the other Pikmin games. There is nothing like Pikmin 1. in terms of like what you have to work with and how it feels to play it. The other ones just are so different. And I feel like that is it's really hard to kind of explain. It's like the first one had like a true to form.
The first one had a timer system too, right?
Yes. Pikmin Go. I did play through Pikmin Go as well, Lance. That was a good one too. Actually, it was pretty fun.
That's like saying like I beat Pokemon Go. It's just kind of like a vibe, isn't it?
DS one isn't bad.
There was a DS one?
Yeah, Pikmin Go. Or whatever.
I thought you were talking about the mobile game where
is it Pikmin Go or is it Let's Go Pikmin? That's what it's called on the DS. It's actually really good. It plays like side-scrolling Chibi Robo does though. So it's okay. I wouldn't say it's really good, but it's okay. Hey Pikmin. Oh, Hey Pikmin is the DS one. Thank you, Zach. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. If you haven't played it, it feels like, oh my gosh, it just feels like you're playing in like a miniature diorama of a world that somebody created on purpose. Like everything like has like this purpose to it. The layout designs, everything. Because the layout designs matter because when the Pikmin are traveling, they have to move through the world to get the objects to the onion in the spaceship. So if you don't clear out areas or do what you need to in order to get through stuff, you're going to run into a lot of problems that way. So
that footage you're showing of the Switch version, actually, it looks graphically like it holds up pretty well too.
Yeah, and I don't think they even changed anything for the Switch version really.
Impressive.
It's all the layouts look the same to me. All right, next is Rocket, Robot on Wheels, N64.
So what console was this on? N64.
Yep. So this was one of the
never even heard of this one. I'm gonna have to look at the footage.
It's an expensive.
Is this the first like rare game or something?
No, it's made by Sucker Punch.
Okay, that one. Yeah, one of their first games.
Yep. Let me skip ahead a little bit to see if we can get to some gameplay. That's definitely not gameplay. That's a mini game. That's also a mini game. There.
The game is just mini games.
Yeah, there's
mini game
Rocket.
collection.
So it seems
I heard you like mini games.
Mascot. It's an early mascot game. It's an expensive one. Rocket Robot on Wheels is. It's one of the few red carts on the N64. It's like $100 for this game.
Okay.
A lot of those obscure titles or first titles seem to be that. Because this game like didn't do well, right? It was considered bad.
I don't know if it was considered bad. I think it was just obscure.
Like it probably just didn't even get reviewed.
Yeah, basically. I'm sure like Nintendo Power or Game Informer talked about it, and that was probably it. If anything, Game Informer probably had a cover. Game Informer probably put it on a cover.
The gameplay doesn't. I mean, on first glance, we'll see. We'll see.
I
just gotta say they did way better with Infamous and Ghost of Tsushima. So
yeah. Now we can find their origins as a company. So a genuine first here. I'm curious to see what this is like. This has been a game I actually have been interested in. So, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Red Rescue Team, and whatever the blue one is.
This is Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, I suggest this one because I've never played this, and Terminal Montage did a video.
So,
as you can see by my floating icon.
Have you ever played any of the Narikiri Dungeon games at all? That's what this is. It's just a Narikiri Dungeon where you just walk through it and you go from floor to floor to floor till you get a boss. Every floor has enemies. Every time you move, enemies move. It's a game that's designed where you pick up and resource and scour stuff through the dungeon. Pokemon probably made it like the easiest. The like true to form Narikiri Dungeon games are actually like really freaking hard. Some of them, but it's a turn-based dungeon crawler. So every time you move a square, And you can move diagonally too. Every time you move a square, do you see how he stopped moving?
Yep, I see that. Interesting.
So yeah, you can make your attack. So every time he makes an attack, that Zigzagoon is going to move closer in a second. Or you can even attack from the end. So yeah, you see that? So you have to kind of like plan out as enemies come to you. It's just this is done with the Pokemon battle system in mind.
Okay.
This is the only Narikiri dungeon style one that I've seen that gives you a partner. I haven't played a ton of them. I did play the Izuna Legend of the or Izuna the Ninja ones on the DS. Those are really hard, but those are also Narikiri dungeon games. And then there's a Chocobo Narikiri dungeon series too. They all play the same way. They're all the same game. There really isn't any difference. You play one, you play them all.
Okay.
I wouldn't recommend playing a whole bunch of them. Because they're all basically the same. Let's see. I have Shira and the Wanderer is probably the actual, which is what Season mentioned. But Shira and the Wanderer, I think, is the original Narikiri dungeon character or something like that. Anyways, there is kind of like an actual like dungeon series that if you ever wanted to pick it up or got really interested in it. Mischief Makers for the N64. Shake, shake, shake. What else?
I actually got this one.
I have a physical.
And I also remember playing this up, getting it from Blockbuster, and actually being super upset with it because I was like, "What the heck is this game?" See, I had to limit myself.
I never played it. I want to play it, so I'm kind of excited for this one if this one gets picked.
This one was my pick. I have it, the physical cart, but I've never had an excuse to actually sit down and play it. I always kind of get to the first levels and I'm like, what am I doing? But I know it's kind of somewhat, some people consider it classic-ish. It's made by Treasure, which is always a good thing. But yeah.
So it's a treasure.
So we'll see if it is a treasure if it gets picked.
Yeah, I don't know what this guy's trying to do, but he's going through this little
He's air pumping.
It just looks like he's going through one of those doctor's office play sets.
He's getting into some mischief. He's making some mischief.
Oh, he's getting into the mischief.
Moving the beads around.
Oh gosh, and those guys aren't hurting him for some reason. I'm not sure what's happening.
I gotta get that item there.
Like he could have done that a long time ago. Oh, okay. Interesting. Is this just generally a platformer? Is there actual combat in this game too?
I think this is a lot of it. Like I said, I haven't played super duper far, so I haven't experienced any like direct combat, but this looks about what I experienced.
Okay. Huh. All right. Interesting. Well, I'm cool. I'm down with playing this one through this one for sure. Next is my pick, Contra, on the NES. I have tried to play through it multiple times. I just cannot get through the spider segment where it's like this metal spider is walking across the ground and you're just running from it constantly. I wonder if I can find it.
I'm surprised you got past the first level. Every time Joe and I try to play this, it's not much farther than that.
Does the 30-man code count as a clear on this one, or are we saying you got to get a one credit clear like 3-man?
We can make that the challenge. Don't use the 30-man code.
Okay, so 30-man, we're gonna say you beat the game with 30-man, but if you want to 100% it, that's the actual no 30-man code. Okay.
Yeah.
That'll be like our hardest challenge.
Probably.
Yeah, this one's brutal.
I mean, it's Contra, baby. I'm trying to remember where the heck that segment is that I'm talking about that I keep on messing up. But, oh well, that's fine. So, yeah, Contra's Contra. We all know Contra.
Oh, yeah. Classic run and gun.
Mm-hmm.
One of the originals.
Old clan boss.
I've got the original cartridge, so I'm safe on this one.
I'm just gonna play this one with rewind or save states, just because I'm sick of it.
Wimp.
Oh,
That's cheating.
all right.
That's cheating.
All right. I'll try and go through it the normal way. I will for a while if I can't do it.
No. What you got to do is there are some like choke points and really hard sections. Save state and just grind those sections till you've got them like down stone cold. Then attempt a few runs on actual hardware.
Have either of you
Because that's the thing is it's like this isn't a game you're just gonna sit down and beat. Like you're gonna have to grind this out to like get the skills up to beat it.
Yeah, turn on Eye of the Tiger and get to this montage.
Skills. I'll try and play through it with my kids, but I definitely guarantee they're gonna take the controller from me a whole bunch.
Oh yeah, this is a good one.
Snowboard Kids.
I fucking love Snowboard Kids.
Tell us about it, Matt.
Yes.
Oh man. Well, it's a snowboarding game, and you play as kids. That's literally it.
All right, next game.
But a good challenge is to beat all the stages and unlock. I think there's only one character that you can unlock, which is winning every single race in the game, and then beating them in a race.
Looks like we got some Mario Kart style items.
Pretty much, yeah. It's just another racing game. My brother and I played this religiously. The cartridge that I actually own, my parents got from Blockbuster, so it has the melted Blockbusters logo in it.
Nice. We did play that a little bit in college together, I remember.
I'm pretty sure I said the same exact words. I love snowboard games.
Yeah, you gave me no quarter.
I don't play friendly on this game.
Oh, okay.
This is years of abuse between my brother and I, so there's no friendly.
Well, then, if this gets picked, we have to meet up in January so we can go, so we can play it together. All three of us. That means you got to come here, Matt.
Oh.
I mean, I could take Jeff downstate. You want to go with me downstate, Jeff?
If I can make time for it. Yeah,
that'll be fun. In general though, it's just snowboarding, and then with like a little bit of Mario Kart elements mixed up into it. So
sounds good.
I think the idea of unlocking the last character is a good challenge for it. That's good to me. Kirby's Dream Land. It's the last one on the list. This game you can beat in a half hour.
Short but sweet. I mean, this will be like done day one if this gets picked.
There is the more difficult.
I was gonna say the extra mode.
There is the extra mode.
Yes. Hold down, press A, push start.
So that extends the game out to like an hour.
Yeah. Beat the extra mode, boys.
Yeah. If this gets picked, you don't even count it? Well, no, it counts as a completion, but get the extra mode because spend some time on the game. This one's good. It's simple.
It's good. It's simple. Yes. I'd like the no copy powers. Obviously, it's the first Kirby game, so they had no idea what to do yet. Suck and blow, boy.
Just suck and blow.
That's the whole game.
Very Poyo.
Very Poyo.
It's very Poyo.
It's super Poyo of you. Kirby. So
let's find out what we're playing.
The designs on the first game have stayed pretty true even till today. The Poppy Brothers look pretty close to that. Kirby looks pretty close to that. The Waddle Dees are pretty close to that.
Bronto Burt.
The designs for the time were awesome.
Yeah, and they never and the thing is too, they just kind of added guys as they went. They didn't really ever take anything away from Kirby except for boss designs, but whatever, And as long as I can beat the tar out of Wispy Woods, I'm happy with that. Or so to say, beat the syrup out of Wispy Woods, I'm happy with that.
Good one.
And you can do it every single Kirby game.
Every one. Let's spin that wheel. All right.
That's all of them then. Okay, let's go.
So two choices on Pikmin: Rocket Robots on Wheels, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Mischief Makers, Contra, Snowboard Kids, and Kirby's Dream Land.
All right, here we go.
All right.
Snowboard Kids.
Snowboard Kids.
Snowboard Kids.
All right. Is this one expensive?
Yeah.
I think it's Oh, the first one is?
I think the second one's the most expensive one, isn't it?
Yeah, the second one's like 60.
Okay. Well, even 60. I mean.
Yeah, Snowboard Kids. Hell yeah! I'm excited for this. Nice job, Almonds. Nice pick.
Not gonna see even have
two in a row. Did you get 2 in a row? You didn't pick Wario Land. You got 2. This is your first one for the next season. You got Sonic last time.
Sure. Good movie.
Could we suggest
no results?
games with
Okay, yeah,
multiple
no
games
Snowboard
in
Kids
a
for me.
series like Super Mario All-Star types for the quarterly anyway? Possibly. We'll worry about like multi-cart games at another time. Right now, we'll talk about that later.
I'll probably start streaming Snowboard Kids tomorrow with Joe.
Oh, awesome, cool! I want to hear your rage with Joe. Record
it was like 57 is typical for it, so yeah, $60.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I got to make a whole new subdivision for 2025. So, you do not. I'm not telling people to play the 2025 games yet. I would say hold out. Just give yourself a little time.
Good stuff.
If anybody needs the ROM, we can figure that out.
Yeah.
This one though, I'm gonna buy. This one
You don't have this one?
I don't have this one, and I want this one. I collect N64 games, and this is on my list.
Pulling out eBay.
Zane.
Now's my time.
I'm gonna have to take a second look at our friendship bracelet over here.
Bro, don't. Is it the one on your ankle? The monitor?
Hell yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Well, good stuff. I'm sorry I hopped in late, but I'm also going to hop off early.
You're going to hop off early? We got to talk about our first quarterly pick, too.
Oh, whoa.
We still got to talk about the quarterly pick.
Quarterly pick. What were our options for that again?
What's that? Our options. So, our options right now. So, our first one is Mother 3 for the Game Boy Advance.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
For some reason I lost my share screen, so hold on a second.
Bring it back. Bring it back. Bring it back.
Going live. There it is. All right. Yes. Mother 3.
I've started Earthbound several times.
Well, if you haven't played Earthbound, you're not allowed to play through this yet, because this is a direct sequel to Earthbound. Whereas the first Mother is not really a sequel, but it kind of is. Just because they kind of cross-dimension the boss being like, oh, he jumped from one dimension to another in order to recover, and yeah, they explain it. Kind of. They don't really explain it. They don't actually explain it.
Good thing you used poor choice of words and said played. Didn't say beat. So I have played Earthbound.
Okay. So if you haven't, then good, because you don't actually need to beat Earthbound in order to know what's going on in Mother 3. You just need to know who one of the main characters is.
Yep.
Mother 3 is not localized, but the tomato localization is really, really well done. The translation, as you can see here, is really, really, really good. The problem with playing the bootleg version is that the timing, the patched version, is the timing is off for the heartbeat count hit bit. So you're supposed to, every enemy has a listen, and you can hear their heartbeat, and you can time your attacks to their heartbeat and do more damage. And you do have to do it on certain boss fights in order to win. If you get, that's the timing attack right there, as you can see. Best way to play it is on an emulator on your computer. I played it originally on emulator. I originally played it on my PSP as an emulation all the way through. I would really, really love to replay this game again. The storyline's really good. The characters are really well done, and that's honestly the best part about Mother 3 is the characters. Whereas in Earthbound, it's really more about the story of the world that's going on around you. Whereas Mother 3 is all about the people. And as you can see, Lucas, even though he is like the main character, is not featured in maybe half the game. So you can see you're playing as totally different characters here. So
Yeah.
I want to play as Boney. It's a pupper.
He's the pupper. Eventually, you do get 4 main characters that you become at the end. So it's so good. And honestly, the one part of the game that sticks with me the most is the Chimera, is the ultimate Chimera fight.
Oh,
because you don't even have to actually fight it, but you can fight it, and when you get into that, that's awesome. So I'm excited for this one. Yeah,
I'm surprised this isn't on like the Switch thing yet.
Yeah,
it never will be.
It never will be, and I don't really understand why. Reggie fought for us for a long time, and it just never happened. So sad days. Chrono Trigger.
Woo-hoo.
One day I'll get this in.
Tried and true classic.
Ow, my wallet.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be buying a physical copy of Chrono Trigger just to play it.
You guys don't have a physical complete in-box copy?
Shut up, Matt Chan.
I don't know why. That seems just like the normal thing to have.
Yeah. This is a replay, as you can see. All the treasure chests are open, so they've already.
Okay.
So this is a replay. But the DS version of it and the PS1 version of it are superior to the Super Nintendo one, in my opinion, because they have cutscenes in it that they've added to it that Toriyama did draw. And the DS one is probably the best version of this because it records all the endings of the game for you, so you can play through and get all the endings that way. So
nice.
Maybe that's a good challenge. Get every ending. Every ending. That's a tough one.
Are there 28? I
don't think it was that many. I thought it was only like 16 or 18 something different endings.
You're saying more than 2? It's like you refer to as 13.
Too many.
Not that many.
There's a lot.
Yeah, more than 2.
Oh, it's weird. A
13,
game about time
13
travel.
endings.
13.
Okay. That seems more reasonable.
Dad
That's
wants
more
to
reasonable.
let us know that there's 13.
Okay, I knew it was a teen number. I should have
That's
remembered that it was an odd number.
That's just still insane. And we got 13 endings.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but some of them are really, really short. So,
like if it's not like the Nier Automata thing, like where you eat fish and die, and that's an ending. Like
yes,
that is not short enough.
It's exactly like Nier Automata. but these endings actually have weight to them, not like the silly goofiness of Nier Automata, where it's like, do you want to go down to the planet and fight these monsters? And you just click no, and then it gives you ending J or whatever.
You've got ending J.
Yeah. Chrono Trigger actually has like meaning behind it. It's also available on the phone, on Android and iOS. So play it however you want. It's the same game.
Many ways.
They never made it better because they can't.
Oh,
It's also got one of the best soundtracks on a Super Nintendo ever.
Well, you just contradicted yourself because you said the DS version was the best version, so they could have made it better, and they did.
That's true. They did kind of add some
quality of life.
Thank you, QL.
But they haven't really changed the core game, though.
No, it hasn't changed at all. I don't think so, unless they got rid of some glitches or something. But I don't think there was any real glitches that you could.
It was perfect in every way.
Perfect. Everything down to the last minute details.
13 endings. So yeah, if this gets picked, I'll definitely play through it again. If I did have to suggest a challenge, I would say fight Flea and who are the secret bosses? It was Flea. They were named after the Flea and Slash. They were named after the rock and roll.
Oh, the bands.
The band.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. So Golden Sun for the Game Boy Advance.
This is a game I've played once. Like I don't know how I obtained it, but I had it and I didn't care for it. But again, this was back in my middle school days. Yeah, like these weren't really kind of like my cup of tea. Like huge into Zelda, so I was like, I'll just play Zelda instead of other games.
I really like Golden Sun. I do feel like the Djinn system could be a little better in both of them, just because they're so important. It's so important to have these Djinns, and then to find and get them, you have to do weird little platforming segments just to pick them up, or get them through battles, or just randomly. Sometimes they're in random battles and you find them. You don't know anywhere where they're going to be. They could just literally be anywhere. And so when I was a kid playing through this, I just was just like, oh my gosh, I fought a Djinn in a fight. Now I've got to figure out where else I can fight them. It's just, and you don't know because the world map is different in wherever you walk. I do like the art style. I do like how like kind of kiddish.
I like
it
that
looks.
3D aspect that they did.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they do a lot of that too. This is the Game Boy Advance, so
yeah, it's pretty impressive.
That's really cool. Going into a fight.
That probably took up a couple kilobytes of that cartridge.
I always like the perspective on that of the battles, and the summons are always BA.
This one's a slippery slope game though, because if you play the first one, you have to play the second one.
Truth. Here's the thing. Growing up, I only played the second one. I only bought the second one.
Whoa. Okay. I believe my brother had a complete file on the first one, and when I played the second one, you could take your characters from the first game and the Djinns from the first game and port them over to the second one through the Game Boy Link
Correct.
cable.
That's awesome.
Or you can go on GameFAQs and find someone that had like a 100% complete file and transfer stuff over with like a whole bunch of extra items.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's what I did.
Heck yeah, that's what you do. I don't know how you'd play through the second game with otherwise, because I've never played through the second game raw. So, there you go, Golden Sun, really good RPG. Took advantage of the Game Boy Advance's technology at the time too, really well. So,
For sure.
Final Fantasy VI.
Woohoo! Stone Cold classic.
Basically the best Final Fantasy.
Isn't this Final Fantasy 3?
Okay. Listen here, punk. It's Final Fantasy 6 forever. It's Final Fantasy 3 because of because of America. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. But if they release a new version of this game, it's called Final Fantasy 6.
Yeah, anytime, every time. Oh, I would recommend playing the Pixel remaster if you want to.